Is the frequency in use? Is the frequency? Oh, let me get my shows. Is the frequency in use? Apparently not. This is K4PEW, net control for the Mount Juliet Simplex radio net. Is there any emergency or priority traffic? Just as I thought. If you do have an emergency, please call 911 if you can first. We can help you out. If not, just jump in here and say you need something. If you can't say nothing, just give me some clicks and give me your grid square or something. Anyway, I'm not sure how we'd find you, but it'd be a nice effort. Net may be broken at any time for emergency. For information on this net, you can see us right now on YouTube, which you can look me up on my call, K4PEW, on the search block, or Brain Trusts, one word, BRAINTRUSTS. Or you look on our website, 146415.net, 146415.net, or on Yahoo Groups, soon to be changed. We're already changing it, but that's on MJ_SS. It's in Yahoo Groups. That's MJ_Sierra. And also you can reach me by K4PEW@ARRL.net. But if you want to sign up for the email now, just go to groups.io. Groups, HTTP, of course. But it's groups.io, and just look up Simplex and you'll find MJSS and it's on the first page. I found out there are other Simplex groups around the country. They're there. I don't know where else I found them. Anyway, we're moving over to that slowly but surely, and we'll be done in a week or so because I sent out reminders to everybody who's currently on the mailing list. So everybody should have received one. If you didn't, go to groups.io and go look for Simplex. Or you can look under MJSS. You can do a search on their page. There's a search for groups. MJSS, not MJ underscore, but MJSS. Anyway, where was I? And that normally meets at 8 p.m. every Wednesday and Saturday, unless something terrible happens. We conduct the net in 146.415. That's 146.415 Simplex. Purpose of the net is to have fun and help hams get better at what they do. Having our ham radios, better antennas, better elevation. It's like having my old train set. It wasn't as much fun because we didn't have any money, and all I had was a figure eight, and the whole thing couldn't have been 8 feet long. If that's what you got at the house, you had a coat hanger and a quarter wave antenna and a 5-watt rig, you're in trouble. Not much fun. Anyway, we invite everyone to use the net to announce amateur radio events and activities. Of course, I just have a couple of announcements. One of them is the move from Yahoo to groups.io. We make the move not because I hate Yahoo. I've been on them for 20 years. It's because they hate us. They're downsizing and they're really getting sloppy. I put in last net. I put in a reminder. Put it in at something like 2:30 in the afternoon. It didn't go out until after the net was over at 9 o'clock or 9:30, and I just canceled it since it just didn't make any sense. And that same thing today, I put it in at 2 o'clock and it got out somewhere around 5 or 6 p.m. So I don't know what time it came out. Yahoo is falling apart a bit. At any rate, there's some nice, we're one of the larger Simplex groups even on this IO groups.io. So it's, by the way, it is groups, GROUPS.India Oscar. That's the name of the website. It's easy to find. Let's see, there's a net tomorrow night on the Wilson County Amateur Radio Club's information net on 147.105 plus offset and a 156.7 PL. That's at 8 p.m. tomorrow night. Yeah, today's Wednesday, right? Yeah. And I don't think I have anything else. Does anybody else have any other announcements? All righty. Is anybody out there? If I get the volume up? Yes. By the way, this is net number 531, and we're starting from the west tonight. Who else? So we're going to start taking check-ins from the west. Kids coming.
KM4YRF.
Much by surprise, didn't it?
Not at all.
You had it figured out already, did you?
Had my finger on the trigger.
I don't know. You never know. So how you doing tonight? Okay.
Yeah, I'm doing good. I got 4 little electronics kits in the mail today to put together. So I'm sitting here looking at one of those. They're really
Anything good in those kits?
Well, I got two 6-bit digital clocks. I've got a little Christmas tree that's got LEDs that light up, and then another little sound maker thing. So it's gonna be fun to build.
Yeah, now you can build one of those Electcraft radios.
I might try that someday.
Yeah, I don't know. That's too big a task for me. I don't think I want to put together 1,000 parts
Yeah, that'd be a whole bunch of pieces apart.
and have something left over at the end.
Normally do.
Very good. Is Rick going to be here tonight?
No, Rick is had plans tonight. He's not gonna be on the air. He said tell everybody hi.
No. See, he misses the surgery, just gets medication. Now he thinks he's off the hook.
Well, this is strike three. He missed the surgery, missed the breakfast, and now tonight.
Oh man, we're gonna go down and punch a hole in his feed line.
Yeah, stick some pins in his toe wax.
Very good. All right, Mike. Good to have you in there. That was Michael Kilo Mike 4 Yankee Romeo. Not you. It's Kilo Mike 4 Yankee Romeo Foxtrot, and he is in Belshire. And remember, I don't see anybody. One person on here. That must be Michael. So I don't know what everybody is. Normally we got 6 or 7 by this time. I don't know. Maybe everybody's watching the baseball or something. Anyway, who else we got? West, please come down. West of Mount Juliet, please come down. I'm going to shorten it. Going to the south then, south of 40. Sounded like I'm receiving signals from Mars. I don't know how we're going to start this one at a time, but I don't know. One person. I don't know how you're going to decide who one person, because that sounded like 3 or 4. Hey, there you go. I haven't heard from you in a while. How you doing, Michael? Yeah, I was talking to some guys yesterday in Texas, and he says everybody in Texas is just watching that game. Well, baseball's always fun, especially during the what do you call it? The World Series. It's always. I remember my earliest years as a kid when I was playing baseball, and gosh, I was still in, I don't know, grade school. I guess had to be, and baseball was the best thing in the world.
My grandfather was the same way. He said the best time he got interested in baseball was when they got to the World Series.
Yeah, it is, and it's fun. It's fun to see it because those are technically the best of the best. So they usually have a pretty good series. Anyway.
Yeah, hope you're doing well. Hope everybody else is. I haven't been on the radio much lately. Just been kind of busy and out of state with other things.
Oh yeah, they just update. I don't know if you heard me. We got that rescue dog a couple of months ago. I think it was August, and then she was a sweetheart. Overweight, and we were reducing her food intake, so she lost some weight. And then what happened? She gets sick last week, and we had to put her down because she had kidney failure.
Oh no, that's awful to hear. I'm sorry to hear that, Paul. I know that can be a challenge for her.
Oh yeah, well she was 13, so she was kind of old, but we didn't have a clue. Neither did the vet have a clue because they didn't do any testing really, until went in there and he did a blood test and he said, "Oh yeah, this is bad." And so great. By this time she was really ill and she was throwing up, and couldn't eat, and, it's just awful. Really hated to do it because he was a sweet dog and got along with the other dogs good. So we were kind of upset by that, I guess.
Yeah, hopefully she had a good last few time with y'all.
Oh yeah, no, the other owner was living in Lebanon. He passed away, and we picked him up. And he was apparently he fed her a lot. She was really overweight, so we were getting her weight down. And she was a lot more active initially when we got her weight down about 7 or 8 pounds, and then this hit. So we were kind of devastated about it. We were looking forward to at least 3 or 4 more good years.
Yeah, I've got one that's in the 13 range myself, and we've had some health care issues with her lately, but we got a reprieve and found out one of them wasn't, but they were just benign tumors, so that was a good thing to find. So I can appreciate that.
Oh yeah, I've been through that as well on previous dogs. So it's always a pain. It's a pain emotionally, and it's a pain financially.
Yep, roger that. I'll agree there.
Very good, Michael. Good to have you in there. I haven't heard from you in a while, so I'm glad you took the time. That was November 1, Mike Delta Juliet, and that's Michael over in just east of Mount Juliet, south of 40, east a couple miles. How far is that from 40? I mean, from 171?
Oh, it's just about a mile, 0.2 maybe at the most. There's a little place on the map that says the area here is called Rural Hill, but you have to look real close to find it.
Yeah, in other words, there's no sign.
Exactly.
All right, very good. It's a mile east of Mount Juliet Road, just south of Interstate 40. Very good, Michael. And again, November 1, Mike Delta Juliet. He hasn't checked in a while. Busy guy, and he works a funny schedule, so I understand why. Who else we got south?
Heavy boy, yet.
Hey, there's the other one over there in Gladeville.
Yeah, the big Glade checking in here. Hope everybody's doing well, and he's ready for this cold spell that's coming tonight. So, and just thought I'd check in.
Yeah, your nose get all fixed up?
Yeah, I had to go to the ER. It busted a main, I don't know what you call it, but paper towels wouldn't stop it, I'll tell you that.
Wow, so it's one of those larger capillaries busted or something?
Yeah, evidently. I probably lost about 2 gallons of blood. At least it seemed that way.
if you lost 2 gallons, man, they would have to take you in a stretcher.
Yeah. That's not the first time I've lost all of it. But evidently I didn't lose enough to make me that bad this time.
You're not taking any medication that causes bleeding problems, are you?
Yeah, I take a baby ass.
Yeah, that's not. I do too, but that's nothing. I mean, that's what 81 milligrams or whatever they call
it. Yeah, all it is spider venom.
It's spider. I thought it was aspirin.
Oh, that's what it's made out of.
Oh, okay. Sounds good to me. I thought it was made out of tree bark.
Yeah, they probably throw some of that in there too.
Yeah, that's right. They're recycling forestry materials.
They got to do something with it. Same with the trash. They probably throw a little bit of plastic in each field
too. That's right. Styrofoam is taboo.
Yeah, it's exciting to know all that, isn't it?
Well, it's exciting to know when I read something many moons ago that, when the FDA does testing in processing plants for like vegetables, canned fruits, etc., and they actually have a standard by which you can only have so many insect parts in each can.
Yeah, that goes for chocolate too. They're allowed. They can put so many bugs in your chocolate.
That sounds ridiculous. I think they're trying to keep them out, but they can't keep them all out,
You can't blame them. I like chocolate too.
No, I understand. It's just funny how we always do. You probably when we're sleeping, we probably pull in more bugs in it when we're sleeping, and we don't even realize it. Well, very good, Eddie. Good to have you in there. I'm glad you resolved that problem. What did they do? Cauterize your nose or something?
Well, they put a clamp on it for a while, and we got it stopped. And I had to be careful for 2 weeks not to pick anything up or not to blow my nose and stuff like that.
Man, oh man, you probably spent a lot over there at the ER. You could have come over here. I got some C clamps that probably fit just fine.
Well, I tried that all morning, and it didn't work at home.
You weren't twisting the handle hard enough.
Yeah.
All right, very good, Eddie. I'm glad you're better. That was Whiskey 4 Echo Bravo X-ray in Gladeville. He had a nosebleed problem this past Saturday. Went home and finally had to go to the ER, so that was a big deal. I know I had a nosebleed 10 years ago. I wouldn't stop for nothing. Anyway, who else we got south?
Kilo Foxtrot 4, Kilo Foxtrot, Quebec, and Smyrna.
Hello, Smyrna. How you doing tonight?
I'm above ground.
Well, it's above ground and sitting up taking solid food. Is that the issue?
Well, I still got parts on back order, but other than that, I'm good.
Yeah, I'm with you. Yeah, it's good. I don't know how old you are, but the older you get, the more you appreciate the fact that you're not sick and you're not confined to the wheelchair.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, one of my great fears is sitting in a nursing home in a wheelchair with drool coming out of the side of my mouth.
Well, I'm kind of hoping one of my kids takes me in like I took in my mother, but I got no guarantee of that.
My daughter has told me from an early age that, Dad, you're going in a home.
Yeah, well, that's a good warning, that. And you told her, well, that's real fine because I'm not leaving you anything when I go.
Christmas holidays are soon be upon us. I'm the Santa Net guy.
Oh yeah, yeah. I was just talking to who was I talking? I was talking to Frank about that. Frank K4ING earlier today.
Yeah, yep. I've been working on some new material, and I got Luther and Maurice are going deer hunting on Christmas Eve, and we got some adventures in line for them.
Oh, cool. I didn't know. When is deer season here? I've never hunted in Tennessee.
I have no idea.
Okay, well, we know it's Christmas Eve, don't we?
Well, they got these deer out in their front yard, and well, you'll have to tune in Christmas Eve and find out how Maurice and Luther take care of them.
I got you. Yeah, Tony. In fact, he was talking about somehow involving our Simplex group or Simplex Net or the Simplex frequency with the Santa.
Yeah. He pitched that to me too, and I'm like, I don't know how you're going to do it. I'm not sure Santa, with his advanced technology, will put up with relays, but I simply don't know how it would work.
Well, it doesn't mean I couldn't do it. Help out. We'll figure that out. But I mean, I have a good footprint, so I get out. My gosh, I cover Smyrna and Murfreesboro easy. All the way. I get out about 40 miles, real well in almost every direction, and sometimes farther in some directions. So that may be an answer. We have two microphones.
Yeah, there you go. All right, well, I'll let you go. Anyway, K4, KFQ, back to that.
Yeah, very good, Tony. And that's Tony, Kilo Foxtrot 4, Kilo Foxtrot, Quebec. And that is, you are also in Smyrna, are you not, Tony?
Yes, sir. I'm in beautiful downtown Smyrna.
Oh, yeah, no, very good. I just want to make sure. I was pretty sure you were. Well, very good. Again, Tony, Kilo Foxtrot 4, Kilo Foxtrot, Quebec. He does the Santa Net every year from somewhere to somewhere. And kids, I think, enjoy that. I know I would have. We had one in my neighborhood where I knew about it. Who else we got south? Please come in.
KR4AZ, November Yankee, Bill.
Hey, Bill. Hold on one second. I had Tim beat you in there. Hold on one second. How you doing, Tim?
Doing all right. How about yourself?
I am doing real good. I might have to break out my long pants. I wear shorts all the time, and now tomorrow morning it's going to be 20-something.
I didn't think it was going to get till Thursday night, Friday morning. Man, I hope it's not that cold.
Okay, I could be wrong. No, it says Friday morning. What's tomorrow? Tomorrow's Thursday. You're right. Tomorrow morning's not going to be too bad. It's only going to be 48 tomorrow morning. I was looking at the wrong temperature. It's actually Friday morning is going to be 28 degrees. And then it says Saturday morning is going to be 28 degrees and Sunday morning is going to be 29 degrees. So I'm going to go put the coats on the frogs in my frog pond.
Yeah. Well, one way to look at it, you'll get to wear the shorts one more day.
Yeah, well, I don't know. I'm comfortable in shorts, but not when it gets to be 28 degrees.
I had an old guy that used to work with us. He'd wear a little old jacket in, and it'd be sometimes in the teens. I mean, cold. And he'd walk the plant. He'd have some kind of, look like some kind of shorts on. But he'd had to have his jacket on. I thought, man, he said, even this hot natured, I guess, but I don't know. Old as I've got, I don't like cold weather myself.
That's because you're born and raised in the South. That's why.
I think he was too, but he didn't like long pants. I said, man, I always thought, you're gonna get stuck out somewhere. Sometimes it's cold like that. And he's gonna freeze something off. But anyway, he has never had to get outside his vehicle or anything. But hey, we'll get through it. It won't be long. We'll be talking about how warm it is again. A buddy of mine sent me an email here, full-time campers. He said there's out in Arizona. I don't know what part, but odd weather there. He said they woke up to snow on their vehicle, about 2 inches of it. And I went, wow. So I guess that's what's kind of headed this way.
Well, that's good. I don't mind. I don't really mind the cold weather at all. Maybe it's I don't know. I grew up in that kind of weather, and I'm mostly Eastern European, Polish, Russian, German, what else? Oh, Lithuanian, Estonian, and plus my mother's side is British, so Irish, Scotch, English. So I'm stuck with cold weather on my brains and my veins, I guess. Well, very good, Tim. Good to have you in there. That's Tim, Kilo Romeo 4 Alpha Zulu. He is in Murfreesboro. And a good signal as always, Tim. Yeah, cold weather is it's a nice break, but I don't want to. If I'm living here, I don't want to have big heavy snows. There's no snow removal, and it's a pain. Anyway, Bill, you're up next. How you doing? KM4 November Yankee.
I'm doing just fine, and I hope everybody else is too.
Yeah, well, we've got nice weather. Well, aside from the rain, it is. Did it rain much where you live?
Oh, some, but we got used to that.
Oh yeah, it rained most off and on almost all day here, so I presume it was the same over there.
But it started raining here at 4:15 this morning.
Oh yeah, same here. I woke up to it about, I don't know, 5:45 in the morning. It was raining pretty hard because I know it's raining hard. They open the door and the dogs don't want to go out.
I have one of those.
It does. They go run for the door, and as soon as I open the outside screen, the storm door, they come to a screeching halt. It looks like they slammed the brakes on.
I think sometimes they're smarter than we
are. No, often. Hey, listen, we're here for their benefit, and they know it. That's why they sleep all the time, and they get the best food. And you notice they don't pet us; we pet them.
Well, yeah, but that's okay. Life is not always fair in every respect, but it's pretty good.
Oh, no, I understand. We've had as many as 7 dogs here. A couple of years ago we did, but some of them passed away. We're back down to 4, and we're probably going to get another one. We really enjoy dogs. Anyway, everything going well for you, Bill?
That's doing fine, so I better back out of here and let you get to talking some more of these good folks in 73 to say everybody.
Very good. That was Bill, Kilo Mike 4, November Yankee, and he's in Murfreesboro as well. Great signal. Who else we got south?
Whiskey 4, Delta Mike, so Echo 4, Sierra, Yankee Victor.
Hold on, Larry. Kilo 4, Delta Mike, and they didn't catch the rest of it.
Oh, Whiskey 4, Delta Mike Lima.
Ah, that was it. Whiskey 4, Delta Mike Lima. Boy, you're really loud. Are you using a lot of power, or are you that close to me?
Oh, this is Doug in Cool Springs, Franklin, Tennessee. I'm not that loud, but I've got the 5-element Yagi pointing your direction, and you sound like as I told you last time I checked in, you sound like our repeater. You're so loud.
Well, that's a good thing, and I can tell. I was going to ask you if you were on the beam because, man, you're really blasting in here. I'd reach over and turn the volume down, but then I'll have to turn it back up again. Yeah, I'm glad that we had that little chat last time because I think those are the kind of things that, I don't know, kind of lights a fire under me and other people as well.
Well, it's sort of lit a fire under me because the WKS group's wanting to do more with Simplex, and I told them about my participation in your net. And by the way, thanks for running this net. It's been a lot of fun, my second time checking here. But our new leader, it's his goal to do more Simplex work, and I mentioned about the X700 antenna. So you've lit a fire under us to do a better job on Simplex.
Well, very good. Yeah, we did the. I don't know if I told you that story. And I'm not telling stories out of school here because it was public. But we did the guys over at the Wilson Emergency Management Office. They were testing. They wanted to test their radios, and they said, "Well, can we come up on your net and do that?" I said, "Sure. Yeah, well, that's what we're here for." And all hands are here for technically. And so we had 15 or 20 guys on the net, and they would check in on every time that we did do a test, and they were shocked because there were people within Wilson County that couldn't hear them. Very poor signal, especially if they didn't have a reasonably nice antenna. And then they realized that the finals were blown on their radio.
Well, that makes a difference, doesn't it?
Well, it's one of those deals in any commercial. Well, it doesn't really matter at home, although it is important, but testing equipment periodically to see if it works is a big deal. I mean, it's important, especially in emergency operation.
Well, I don't get to check my equipment like I do with this deck because normally I can just do a cheap HT and hit the repeater here to check into our WKS net. I can almost use a 10 can of strings.
Well, just to give you a clue, though, and I've never checked into the net you guys have. I think it's on Monday nights. Is that the big net you guys have on the repeater?
Yes, Monday night at 7 o'clock, I think.
Yeah, now I know several on this net check into that, but I've heard people say, not about your net, they were talking about it was kind of a pain sitting through the net on M tiers just because it's so cut and dry and it takes forever to get through and there's too many stations and it takes too much time. And that's what we try not to do because it's our groups like this, these simplex things, they're more casual because we want people to be interested, not just to be checking in and getting rid of them. You know?
Well, you sparked my interest enough to come back for the second time, and I appreciate the information that you emailed me. And I looked at your destroyer we're on. We a bunch of us have breakfast on Tuesday mornings, and we've got a whole tabby of Navy people. And I noticed your destroyer was in World War II as well as Vietnam. So anyway, I mentioned I've been talking to another Navy guy, so they were interested in that.
Well, then you've heard, you want to tell your Navy guys, ask them if they know the difference between a sea story and a fairy tale.
Okay, I will ask them. Some of these are landlubber Navy guys. One of them was in Alaska on the oh shoot, I can't even think the island chain out there, but they were a lot of them were R390 code copiers and repair persons.
Oh yeah, well, there's a lot of stories go out with Navy guys. More so, it seems, at least from my experience. And actually, a fairy tale starts out once upon a time, and a sea story generally starts out what this ain't no shit.
I think I've heard that before, but anyway, we've got one guy who was retired. He was a chaplain. He did a tour of the British Navy as a chaplain. He went out on a launch of the whatever Jimmy Carter's submarine was launched in his honor, and had an interesting career. And had an English call sign as well during his career in the Navy.
Oh, that's cool. Yeah, the British have a really they were a lot of our ships from the United States Navy were copied more or less. Some of the architecture and the engineering was right out of the British Navy.
Well, evidently there was a program they had where they swapped out men from both navies. But anyway, he as a chaplain, he was the only, I think, the highest ranking chaplain in the Mediterranean, but in the British fleet there.
Oh wow. Yeah, that's a lot of neat stuff goes on in the Navy. I always enjoyed it, but I only enjoyed it for 4 years, and I said, okay, I've had enough of being at sea, and I decided I didn't want to do that anymore.
Well, I tell you what, I might have made it for a day or two, but probably got seasick, and I sure didn't want to be in a tube underwater. But anyway, thank you for your 4 years of service.
Oh yeah, well, we had a lot of fun, and I learned a lot. That was probably the best thing that you can do for a lot of young men like myself is you learn that your hometown is not the center of the universe, and you also learn that nobody else in the world knows you or where you live or cares where you live. But you learn a lot in the process, you really do. Anyway, Doug, it was good to have you in here again. That was Whiskey 4 Delta Mike Lima. He's over there in Williamson County. He is doing more Simplex over there with the club over there in Williamson County. They already have a great club. I think I've said that before. They really do. I would say they're, from what I've seen and heard, they're number one in this area as far as activity and training and kits and testing and you name it, they do it. And now they're going to do Simplex. So this ought to be good. Remember, Doug, we've been doing this for over 5 years now. So it's taken a while to get the ball rolling, but I don't think it'll take you as long, given the given the crowd you've got.
Well, I want to call on your expertise and get you to join us when we in one of our Simplex nets sometime.
Oh yeah, well I've done that. Rutherford has one every month, and I've missed only one or two maybe, but the first Tuesday of every month they have one. So I participate in their area's Simplex now, which is good, and they get around 10, 11, 12, 13 check-ins every time. So they're not doing too shabby. Well, anyway, Doug, let me move on. It was good to have you in there. Again, it was Doug Whiskey 4 Delta Mike Lima, and he's in Williamson County. Next up was Larry, KE4SYB. How you doing, Larry?
You're doing all right, Paul. Did you get an update on the people that signed into the new website?
Yeah, every once it signs in, they tell me.
Okay, I didn't know if they had a many had signed up on the new website or not?
Last I looked, it was 22.
Okay, well, I just signed up, so maybe I'll make a miss. So we'll let you get on with it. KU4SYB.
Yeah, very good. Hold on one second. I want to look right now, but how to find it. Here we go. Members. Well, hold on. Yeah, it shows you signed. It even tells you what time. Larry, 5:19 p.m. It says. Anyway, there's 26 of us here now, and that's kind of astounding. But we had 80 something on the other list, so it's going to take a while for everybody to get the word out. I think we may lose a few because some of them have left town or been out of town or out away at school or whatever. They may not sign up again. That's all right. Whoever shows up is who's supposed to be here. Very good, Larry. That was Kilo Echo 4 Sierra Yankee Victor. He is in Rockville. Who else is south?
K4IDC mobile.
Hey, mobile. Where are you mobiling?
Well, I've been listening to you since Charlotte Pike and 40, but I'm south on Mount Juliet Road now near Central Pike.
Ah, very good. I was going to ask you something, but I guess we'll have to wait because I forgot what it was. Did you make any more headway on those holes in the ground?
They're all full of concrete, and I tore the form lumber off of them. What's today? Wednesday, Saturday.
Cool. They should be pretty stable. You said you hit rock on one of them. Those things going to be stable as all get up.
That's the hope.
Like I said, you would do that in Florida. You might pour the concrete. It falls further down in the ground.
Yeah, land of the sinkhole.
I know it is. I told you in my house, the last house I had in Florida, the water table was in the height of the rainy season. The water table was probably, I'm not going to lie, it's somewhere between 2 and 3 feet underneath my slab on my house.
And they're all on slabs.
Oh yeah, there's no basements in that part of Florida. Let me tell you.
Yeah, and there's no, concrete block footer either.
I try to remember how they were doing it. Some of them were monolithic slabs. You're right, and there were others where, when they put down those footers, they poured them all full of concrete, and then poured. I don't remember how they did it now. It's been so long since I looked at it. But anyway, they did have concrete block footers, but they were integrated into the pour of the concrete of the whole slab.
Yeah. So the crawl space, if there is any, is a slab.
Yeah, there is no crawl space, believe me. Nothing. No crawl space. I had a water main break, a hot water line break underneath my house, and that was a little bit of work running the new water lines up through the ceiling.
Involved a jackhammer?
No. I just rerouted the whole thing and had to run new water to the kitchen, the bathrooms overhead.
What a pita.
Yeah, that was trust me. And then you realize the bathrooms, oftentimes, they got cross pieces in the walls, so you've got to bust in and drill holes, cut holes in those to get the pipes down through the wall into the sink and the toilet.
Yeah, they're fire blocks.
I don't even know if they call them that. I don't know if that's actually what they are. This house was built the last house I was built in, I forget, 54 maybe.
Yeah, I think the purpose there is to keep fire from going up inside the wall, at least slow it down.
Yeah, it could be. I'm not sure that's the reason, but you're right. It also gives stability, but I'm not sure you'd care in an 8-foot ceilinged house about stability in a wall that's only 8 foot tall, and like in a bedroom in this case backed up against the toilet, bathroom. I don't think you're looking for structural integrity at that point.
No, it's built over a sinkhole.
Yeah, that's right. Well, or if it flooded, it would just float away. No, it wasn't. We never had any problems. In fact, the first house I built a house. I had one, and it was they did the soil testing, and then they had to dig out underneath the entire where the house was going to be. They had to dig out. I'm going to say 5 feet, maybe it was 6 feet deep. The entire 6 feet down, the entire floor plan of the house, and extending out, of course, and then drag it all out and then backfill and compact the entire thing before they pour out a slab.
Good gosh. I wonder anybody could afford to build.
Oh, you know me, man. I'm independently poor.
You don't need any help with that.
No. Well, that was back in the relatively good days. I think that backfill job cost about $5,000.
Sheesh.
Well, So you're the guy with the pond that cost millions.
Yeah. My pond has a name, and it's Never Again.
Oh, I'm sure that's true. Yeah, it's the same way when you get a pool. You go, oh man, why did I do that?
Yeah, really. Why did I just find out pistol and shoot myself in the foot?
Yeah, well, ponds, pools, boats, that's yeah, living on the water, there's another one.
Yeah, why did you have to pick two that I have?
Yeah, but you've got a nice feature there. It's called, you got that land out there that's out of sight of the house and the road, and you put up 3 towers where you will have them. That'd be cool.
That's right. I'm thinking about getting one of my 400-watt amplifiers going and a 12-element Yagi and pointing it in your direction.
Well, just make sure I got my chickens up on the roof.
And your attenuator dialed in.
Man, I don't know. Could you hear Doug over there? And he was on a Yagi beam pointing towards me, and about blew my ears out.
No, I couldn't hear him.
Okay, he was pointing towards me from Williamson. All right, very good, Robin. Good to have you in there, Mobile. That was Kilo 4 Indy Delta Charlie, Mobile, South Mount Juliet Road, headed towards what is Hermitage near Percy Priestley. Who else out?
Let me jump in real quick. KK4 UTS.
A-U-T, that's F, is it? No, it's S, isn't it?
Yeah, one of my mentors here refers to it as UT, kind of a, was it a 4 or 5 letter acronym. I'm not a sports guy, I don't know, but I'm sure everybody knows who he is. He kind of the big guy over here in Wilson County, which I look up. He taught me, he got me in the game and taught me everything I know. Even though I was born in Dayton, Ohio, I used to admire it. I wanted the ability to talk on a telephone mobile, and ham radio was the first thing that came to it. But anyway, let me get back to the joke. So here we go. Hold on one second, KK42. Yes. Okay, so 1 if by land, 2 if by she.
2 if by sea, 1 if by land, 2 if by sea. What brought up that?
Oh, that was about 5 minutes ago when you guys were talking about the Navy joke. So I my mind it kind of sometimes it wanders away. And then the gentleman down there with the ponds, and you guys were talking about all things to spend money on. So I'm guessing. See, my wife's not home right now, and I'll leave it at that.
So you had nothing to do but get in trouble.
And then there was some more on here. I love what you said. When folks say I built a house versus had one built, I really admire that.
You admire that I said it or that I did it?
Well, that you distinguish the difference between the two. Sometimes we take God's blessings for granted, and back in the old days, there were people that actually got out there and raised a barn. So that was one of the good things there. I got one more for you.
Wait, let me jump in there on that house thing. I didn't build it, but I did, trying to save money, which worked. I did all of the electrical work in a 4-bedroom, 3-bath house. And I did all of the painting, interior and exterior, on that house. And I put in a fireplace myself. And I put in walls and ceilings in the 2 upstairs bedrooms and built out those 2 rooms. So I did build it a little bit, but I didn't build out.
We'll take a poll on it. See if I can find the group's IO. We'll take a poll on it. But one more, the Yagi. So, and you did call this when you said the chicken on the roof. I was thinking of the rooster with the weather vane. And I thought if you spin, I'm not sure, but he's reading loud and clear over here too. And if you spin him around fast enough, I think everyone will hear him.
Yeah, that's right. It'll bounce the signals 360.
That's what I'm thinking too. KK40 UTS back to that. Y'all have a great evening. I'll be over here listening and enjoying myself. Have a great evening.
Yeah, very good, Carl. Good to hear you on the net again. Getting back in the groove. I said, doing your groove thing. If anybody remembers that song. That was Carl, Kilo 4, Uniform Tango Sierra, and he's over there very close to Gladeville. You do call that Gladeville where you live, right?
Yeah, so I'm right. I can see DG out my door, Dollar General. If I go upstairs anyway, I can see Dollar General. I'm right here in Stonefield, so I'm not sure where the other call is at. He can't be far. Gladeville, I think is too. Well, it depends. If you have been around for a while, some folks think Gladeville goes down the Logue Road way down there. But I kind of look where the pavement stops and starts, and I think right in front of Dollar General, the post office, up to the the baseball park, I think, maybe what, a mile, 2 miles wide, and I don't know, maybe 10, 15 miles deep. And I think going north, you hit Lebanon pretty quickly. I think it's probably more south, but then again, you never know with the politicians. They kind of draw the lines however they want, and maybe we'll become real citizens one day and be really Mount Juliet. So I live next door to the post office, but I've got a Mount Juliet address. So when they drop packages, I've got to drive across, heaven and earth to pick it up. So KK4UTS.
Yeah, it's funny. I probably mentioned this before in the year, but when I lived in Florida, there was a community east of Tampa, just a few miles, maybe 6 miles, 7 miles, Brandon, Florida. In Brandon, when I first moved to Florida back in '73, it was a one stoplight, maybe two stoplight town with McDonald's, in a little strip mall. And over the years, it grew to, I don't know, you look it up on the web, Brandon, Florida. It's probably 150,000. It still is not a city. It's not a municipality. It still uses the sheriff for its police force. It uses the county fire department. It has nothing. It has an honorary mayor that doesn't get paid anything. It's just funny how a community that big wouldn't be incorporated.
Yeah, right for that. I'll tell you what, though, speaking of really interesting things, I'm not sure if you're back on your bike or not, but that darn what is that? No, Mount Juliet Road going north. So I take Posey Hill now. I take Central Road, Posey Hill. But I tell you what, if I were to leave here and go down Stewart's Ferry and hang a right and try to get on that Mount Juliet Road, I might be there for a day and a half.
Mount Juliet Road got crazy. It's just crazy. My wife, for some reason, I know why she likes to go. She likes to go take the trash to the dump, because if we do that, instead of paying for the trash, and so she's got to go down there to Stewart's Ferry. And every single time she goes, she lollygags her way into doing it late in the day, like at 4 o'clock. And every day when she comes in the door, she'll be fuming about how bad the traffic is on Mount Juliet.
Yeah, coming back is something else. And on a sad note, too, I hear. So my wife is really terrified about that bridge going south over Percy Priest there. Apparently, it was not a good day a few days ago for a couple of drivers.
Oh, I didn't hear that. Was there a serious accident?
Yeah, I think a head-on. I think an F-150 and a little one of those little smaller Ford SUVs. A school teacher at that, and I think a 22-year-old person. I hadn't had a chance to look it up. I think a day or two ago. She thinks she sees potholes, and she thinks that it's that the lake is going to come up through there. But I don't know. But God bless them, rest their souls. But apparently, it was not a good day a couple of days ago.
Well, I don't know if you ever noticed. The next time you go south across that bridge, before you get to the bridge, there's a sign about 100 yards before the bridge. It's a sign that says bicyclists on the bridge get to use the whole lane. I'm never crossing that bridge. Nobody's going to give me a lane on that bridge.
I've seen that sign, and I'm so glad I'm in the car. I've seen that sign many, many times. I really have. So it seems to sit kind of low. I think the only other time she was as frightened would be Lake Pontchartrain coming out of New Orleans, and it was storming like crazy. And I was younger then, and thinking, hey, what the heck, let's go ahead and do this. But yeah, so we'll see what happens. Anyway, KK4UTS, I'll get off of here and let everybody else jump in. Hopefully Earl's out there somewhere. I had a great conversation with her. I think he's KE4DZ, I think, if I've got it written down. Either that or KE4T. No, I think it's KE4DEZ. We had a great conversation a couple of days ago. And then what I call the grandfather of Wilson County Radio, of Michael's mentor, who was also in the classes when I took my class. I hear him bouncing in and out of here every now and then too.
Yeah, that's KE4DEZ. You got it right. Yeah, or I heard a little bit of that, but I was in the middle of something else, and I did hear you guys yakking away. Yeah, Earl's a good guy. I was going to tell you something about that. Oh, yeah, when I was in Florida, the causeway that goes between Clearwater and Tampa, if it was a rough day and windy, especially if the wind was coming from the south, you'd actually have not waves, but you'd have a lot of sea foam coming up on your car. And now I'm going to have to go to the go through the car wash to get all that salt water off my car. Anyway, it was Carl, KK4UTS, and he is in and around or in Gladeville. Who else we got south, please?
KI4NDN.
Boy, you got a good cycle. You got a good cycle. You have a good signal tonight, there, David.
Well, you may think so, but I've called about 10 times, and this is the first time you heard me. So you're going to have to clean your ears out over there.
I guess I didn't hear you because your signal was awesome. Yeah.
Oh, okay. Well, anyway, I've been sitting here, and I'd quick key, and then I'd wait and quick key. So anyway, I got through. Good to hear you, Mr. Paul. Appreciate all you're doing.
You did hear that that there was Doug here from Williamson County, Whiskey 4 Delta, Mike Lima. Did you hear that conversation?
Oh, yes, sir. I did. I heard the accolades you gave Williamson County afterwards. I don't remember much of the other conversation.
Well, I was just saying that I participated usually in the Rutherford Simplex, and they did a pretty good job. And they were having for a small county, they were doing great. And I don't think I said that, but I just said they were doing fine. And I expected them because he said he had a fire, under his butt to do more Simplex there, as well as the new manager or whatever his title is, the Williamson organization. And they want to do more Simplex. I say, well, this one's been online for over 5 years, and we struggled with 6 to 12 check-ins for 3 or 4 years, and then it just picked up over time, and more people heard about it. And, it just takes time, just like yours takes time.
Oh, yeah, that explains why I didn't remember all the conversations, because he was probably bouncing in and out on me. A lot of the signals I can hear picket fencing some, but mostly heard everybody tonight.
Well, just to be clear, your signal was good, but I was just ignoring it.
Couldn't happen to a nicer fella.
No, really, I didn't hear you. There was some doubling going on several guys. Yeah, you were probably some of those people. Well, very good, David. David is net control for the Rutherford County Net, and it's on Tuesday nights, the first Tuesday of the month. And I missed last month, but I'll catch November, I hope, and I'll be sending out a note on that as well. And all right, very good, David. That's Kilo India 4 November Delta November, and he's in Reedyville. Who else, South?
K1SPD.
Hey, how you doing there, Scott?
I just have one question.
Yes.
Do you have to bring mountain gear or climbing gear when you come to Mount Juliet?
Yeah, that's good. I don't know if you heard me. It cracked me up. I was coming up Mount Juliet Road. There was a motorcycle in front of me, and he had a bumper sticker on his motorcycle that said, "I climb Mount Juliet."
I've seen those, but that's not as good as the one I saw, and I don't know the zip code, but it was over the river and through the hood to whatever zip code we go.
Yeah, I hadn't seen that one. That's pretty funny.
All right, carry on. Busy night. K1SPD.
Yeah, that was from, if you remember, National Lampoon's Vacation, when taking the whole family in the station wagon through a rough part of New York City. I think it was. It might not have been. It might have been Los Angeles. And they said, "Wow, this is great. This is the real world down here." And then you hear shootings and screaming. Roll them up.
Yeah, and as for a low water table, I was putting in a chain link fence at my house in South Carolina. 2.5 foot, I hit water.
Oh my gosh! Was it like that everywhere on your property?
Yeah, I was at the bottom of a cul-de-sac. It was really low right there, but I think my brother dug a well, and I think his was like 30 foot.
Yeah, well, I did have a well on that property I mentioned, the one where I had a house built, and I think it was down. I think you would easily hit water, because actually the water table was like in that house. It was probably 3 feet because it lived right on the water, on this one of the canals. It was on this lake. It was like fingers off of the lake. But I was going to tell you that with my well, it went down about 100 feet because the water up on the surface was awful.
One quick well story. They were putting a well in near my parents' camp up in Maine, and my father walked down there to see how they were doing, and just asked the fellow, "How's it going?" He said, "Well, we're at 800 feet, and we haven't hit water yet, and at $10 a foot."
Man, oh man, 800 feet. I can't believe it took that far.
It was solid rock. It's slate, I think. All right, that's storytelling. K1SPD.
Well, I know I went there as a kid, and the one thing that Maine has is a lot of rocks. A lot of them. Anyway, that was Scott, Kilo 1 Sierra Papa Delta, and he's in Laverne. Who else we got south? Over to the east. Please come in.
KE4TW.
Hey, Wes. You copying many people tonight?
I just got in. I was listening mobile, so I haven't heard many people.
Oh, okay, very good. Yeah, no, the conditions are pretty good. I mean, I had David in Reedyville at like S7 or S8. He's usually not that strong.
All right. A lot of fog. I don't know if it's still raining where you are. It's a lot of fog, so it probably disperses or fracts. RF KE4TW.
Very good. That was Wes. Kilo Echo 4 Tango Whiskey. Indy is mobile down towards Watertown. Good to have you in there, Wes. Who else south? Over to the east. East module.
Okay, I'm 4HQ.
Hey, Stan. He's doing any better than before, I hope?
Yeah, it's getting better. I went to the therapist today, and she wants me to come some more because I'm not turning my head as far to the left as she wants me to. So we're going to try to get the doctor to approve some more physical therapy.
Is there any, well, like they did with me, they when I had my physical therapy, I had some in the hospital, but when I got out to the house, it was all done in the home.
Yeah, I've been doing stuff at home and there as well. I think it's slowly getting better. Maybe I won't need to go 6 more times like we have scheduled.
Well, as you already and we and I already discussed, these things do take time. We don't like to think it does, but they take a lot of time.
Yeah, that's for sure, Paul. I won't hold you up. That's it. Okay, I'm 4HQ.
Yep, that was Stan, Kilo Mike 4, Hotel Quebec Echo, and he is in just a little bit north of downtown Lebanon. Anybody else east?
Kilo India 4 Sierra India Bravo.
I figured you fell asleep by this time.
Not quite. I'm on the verge, but not quite. Hope you've had a good day.
Yeah, very good. Yes, not doing too much since it was raining most of the day, but you had to work today?
I did. I worked from 1:15 to 6:15, and I got run silly, but I tried to stay dry best I could anyway.
Yeah, it was pretty soggy out today, and I kind of now the grass is growing again, and if the sun comes out, we're dead.
Well, hopefully the sun will come out just long enough to dry it up where you can cut it one more time and be done with it.
And we'll see about that because I still got to go out and like mulch all the leaves.
Oh, that's gonna be a joy.
Yeah, well, my wife wanted to get one of those, those leaf collectors that go behind the, the riding mower. She goes, yeah, I said that's a great idea. If you got $1,000, you want to do it.
It wasn't just that we can pay for it.
No, I mean really, it's $1,000 to collect the leaves. And I said, and then the problem is, where am I going to put all the leaves?
Well, start a compost pile.
Yeah, but what am I going to do with the compost pile? Put it back on the lawn?
You could grow one heck of a good garden.
Yeah, I had a. Well, yeah, compost piles are cool. It's particularly if you have a garden. You're right, it works out good.
Works like a charm. I mean, you put food scraps in it and anything else you can think of that would, make good mulch and compost stuff, and just have at it.
Yeah, they probably Mount Juliet Police and Health Department be over here wanting to know I had stinking garbage out in the lawn.
It loses its smell over a period of time. You know that.
Yeah, I know my grandfather had about a quarter acre garden for a long time at his home, my hometown. And the neighbors didn't like it because he'd take his flatbed and load it up with cow manure and bring it over and spread it on the yard. So for a couple of 3 days, it stunk up the yard, putting it in the neighborhood.
Oh, I bet you I was the most popular neighbor on the block.
Well, it's funny because when you live on or near a farm, you don't notice it. But people who have never done that, they think it really smells bad.
Oh, then what you get used to, and they weren't used to it.
No, it is true. I mean, cow manure is not that bad. I mean, it's worse as pigs and sheep.
But the worst is chickens.
Even that you can get used to, but it is pretty acrid stuff.
Well, My brother and I went through the process of swapping out chickens for a fella, helping swapping out chickens for a fella that had a large egg-laying chicken coop. And the night we swapped them out, it rained, but we had to do it anyway. Rain was not a factor, couldn't be a factor. But anyway, yeah, that was an odor that you never quite forget.
Nor the slipperiness of it.
Oh, no.
I'm with you. I've been there, done that. Again, you get used to it. You can get used to it. It's just, again, to people who aren't used to being in or around farm animals, it's really, really horrible.
Yeah, and there's a lot of them in this world. Some of them take mad at you. Well, if you want to eat beef, go to the grocery store. They make it right there at the store. They have no idea where it comes from before it gets to the store.
No, they really don't, and I don't. It's probably better that they don't, because then they'd be vegetarians.
Well, that's all the more steak for me.
I know, that's what I say. Well, very good, Richard. You sound like you get a good signal today. I'm glad work's going well for you, even though I'll go back to work, but they're gonna have to pay me at least minimum wage.
Well, I'm getting at least minimum wage, and it's simply the easiest job I've ever had in my 65 years. It's a matter of somebody handing you a piece of paper. You go through the store till you find what's on that piece of paper, and you go to the computer, you check out on the run, you get in the company truck, you drive down the road, you take you get where you're going, you get a signature on a piece of paper and hand somebody a part, get back in the truck, go back to the store and do it all over again. It's a no-brainer.
Yeah, well, you do have to know how to drive. You have to know how to read. So it does require some expertise. But no, I'm glad you're doing well. It sounds like a good job. I may go down and apply. Give me something to do. Very good. That was Richard, Kilo, India 4, Sierra, India Bravo. He's over just west of Lebanon. Who else we got west, or east, excuse me?
KB4 SFM.
Hey, Tom. Everything going well?
As well as it could be for an old man. Got two announcements.
Oh, go ahead with the announcement.
Yeah, the Wilson Amateur Radio Club meeting will be this Saturday night at 6 p.m., room 122, Lamprey Hall, Cumberland University. And 8 o'clock tomorrow night is the Wilson Amateur Radio Club information net. That's on 147.105, repeater, tone 156.7. All right. 73s to you and everyone out there at KEB4 SFM.
Yeah, very good, Tom. Yeah, I did mention the repeater, the net, the routine Thursday night net at the front of the net, but I'll say it again. The Wilson Amateur Radio Club information net is tomorrow night. It's at 8 p.m. It's on always looking at things. It's 147.105 with a plus offset and a 156.7 PL. And then, of course, Saturday night is their monthly meeting at Lamprey Hall on Cumberland University in Lebanon. And that's 6 p.m. in room 122, Lamprey Hall, L-A-M-B-R-Y. I know the first time I went over there, I stopped the cop and I says, "Where's Lamprey Hall?" And he says, "You're sitting next to it." So it shows you how much I could read. All right, those are the two announcements. Have any questions about that?
No questions. KK4 UTS with a comment. So that's my mentor. I'm not sure if he remembers. I think it's KZ4 SFM, but he has, again, a very distinct voice. So I'm sitting in the class over there, right? And he's got this kit in the back. I'm a musician, so first thing I noticed was a rack. I'm thinking another musician, but I looked in there. He's got this portable rig that is just absolutely gorgeous. So, with all due respect, so I won't be able to get there Saturday night. I ain't gone far racing these kids and doing things, but good to hear your voice. Glad to hear you on 146-415 KK4 UTS. I really appreciate all you've done for me. Thank you.
Very good. See, Tom, I've heard you called a lot of names, but never a mentor.
Yeah, well, I'm working on that. Thanks a lot. Appreciate it. KB4 SFM.
No, I haven't heard you called anything. No, you're doing fine. Obviously, you're appreciated by those who've helped. And that was Tom, of course, again, KB4 SFM. And that was Carl. I'll get his call here in a second in my brain. KK4 UTS with that comment, speaking kind words about Tom's mentoring in him radio. Who else? We got anybody else east? I heard it. Squelch Breaker.
WD4PWC.
Hey, how you doing, Jeff?
Doing good, sir. Doing good.
4WD4. I had to write down that. I had to create the call from my memory, so it was a little bit of work, but I got it right. So is everything going well on the net on Thursday night? I missed it again the day before, or dang. On Tuesday night I missed it because I had a previous appointment.
So you made it. You checked in.
Oh, that's right. I checked into the second half of it is what I checked into.
That's fine. No problem. Like I said, if you make it, you make it. And if you don't, it's no problem.
No, I know. I like to make it. I do the announcements, and I try to. And although Yahoo hasn't been very uh, helpful these days, but with their delays in getting messages out, but that should be changing here with the new system. You did find out about the new system change, right, on groups.io? Jeff?
No, I didn't. Now I know. Groups.io.
Yeah, if you go to groups.io, you'll see all you have to do is do a search for MJSS. But I was pretty sure we sent an email got sent out to everybody who's on the existing list, with Yahoo. So you should have gotten an email on that. I'm pretty sure you were on that list, weren't you?
Yeah, I'll check my email.
All right, very good. Anything else for the net, Mr. Jeff?
Nothing but the net. Back to you.
All right, very good. That was Jeff, Whiskey Delta 4, Bravo Whiskey Charlie. He normally does part of the net control for the Wilson County Emergency Preparedness Night. Could be the name on Tuesday nights. Anybody else east or north? Please come in.
WE4E.
Well, you waited out, didn't you? A long time, Danny.
Well, I could have waited for the scanner listeners and SDR donglers, but I figured I'd go ahead and jump in.
I think I must have started something with that because now everybody remembers that.
Yeah. Well, it's the catch-all. I wasn't out here at the stroke of 8 o'clock. And I figured if I'm not out here at the stroke of 8 o'clock, you'll start from the north, and then I'll have to wait for the sandbaggers.
Well, in this case, we started from the west, so you would have been last anyway.
Well, it works out then.
Or you could have lied and said you were mobile.
Oh, dang. Yeah, I could have done that.
I don't know. I can't tell if somebody's lying. I don't have a direction finder here.
Yeah. Well, and if you did, you wouldn't hear 3/4 of the net.
Oh, I wouldn't. If I could be more sophisticated, I guess I'd have another transceiver with a beam that just naturally gravitates to the highest signal level. Just moves around looking for it. Like a homing beam.
Oh, now you're making my head hurt.
I'm sure. Listen, I'm sure they have it. I haven't seen one, but I'm confident they have.
I'll wait for you to tell me you're going to set up 2 other satellite receivers and use diversity receivers and direction find, triangulate.
Oh boy. I may have discussed this before, but when I was in 1969 in the Middle East, they were still using LORAN for navigation, but the Middle East didn't have LORAN.
That's true. But then they quit using it. We got 160 back.
Oh, is that what happened? Really? I didn't know that.
They took away the 160 meter band for the LORAN stuff back 60s, 70s.
Yeah, for those who don't know what LORAN is, it's a way of navigating using radio direction finding gear, and the shore stations with LORAN transmitters, and the ships had the method of seeing the LORAN beacons and then triangulating off of those beacons. Over in the Middle East, we had to resort to the Columbus method of seafaring, and it's you're shooting the stars and shooting the moon, and you're shooting the sun and triangulating off a radar. Well, we did the radar too, close to land, but it was all done with the sextant.
Yep, clock and a sextant. If your clock's accurate and your sextant's calibrated and you got a shot of a star, you can figure out where you are. It's a little doing, and the LORAN stuff was frighteningly accurate for what it was. It was actually remarkably good.
I guess I didn't deal with that at all. But one of the I wish I had a video camera or a video 8mm at the time, because one of the I say funny, it was just a funny sight when you'd see 3 people, the 2 quartermasters and the navigator, all with sextants, and there was a 4th guy who had the clock, had the watch in the logbook, for writing down the information. And that's no big deal. They're all just, and they'd time it. He'd go stand by, and they'd be watching, measuring to the horizon to whatever they were shooting. and then he'd go stand by, mark, and then they'd all look at their sextants and read, they turn it over and read the side of the sextant, what the angles were, etc. And what was fascinating though is when we were in rougher seas, you still had to navigate. So when the ship's rolling, these guys all had to be synchronizing with the roll of the ship. So they're trying to remain straight up when the ship's moving. So you watch these all three guys in unison, well, actually four, in unison, going back and forth in unison, in synchronicity with the ship. It was really funny to watch.
Well, I'm sure when it's also in a driving rain or a monsoon or I don't know what. So you've also got bad seas and they're getting soaking wet. So yeah, that's the glamour of ship life. The Loran stuff, I got a little taste of that back in the '80s in television, the news helicopters. A lot of those actually used Loran direction finding for the microwave link that ran from the helicopters back to the ground station, and they would use Loran to track them.
Oh wow, I did not know that. Let's see, I learned something new. I didn't know Loran had that functionality in those days.
Well, it's part of that whole declassification of military technology. The idea that all of that classified information, high technology that taxpayers pay exorbitant fees to develop and deploy. That's how that technology and that expenditure is supposed to be returned back to the public. Is it becomes declassified and it becomes demilitarized, and then it's some of those technologies like GPS and some of these other technologies that have been opened up for civilian use.
Yeah, well, when you consider the technology of the ship I was on, I wasn't in the radio room, but I looked up the specs on some of that stuff. And when you consider big antennas, big verticals, and they had some good wires and long wires and stuff. They had a lot of verticals for receiving and for sending. And you figure they were running. We talk about a legal limit in ham at 1.5, but they were at 5 and 10 kW on their transmit.
Well, I seem to recall you guys had a pretty good ground.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, we put this aluminum foil on a wire and hung it over the side.
Something like that, yeah.
No, believe me, we had a good ground, and obviously it worked well because I know that I did fine in Florida when I was near the water. I had a great time doing mobile on the sideband. It was really quite fun. All right, very good, Danny. That was Danny Whiskey Echo 4 Echo. Anybody else north? Good to have you in there.
W9BOQ,
Romeo Victor. I don't know about North KK4 UTS with a quick comment. Is that gentleman that just was on the gentleman that knew about all the other data things we were talking about, I think a week or two ago?
I don't know. Data? Which data?
So the free data that we give Facebook and all that kind of stuff.
Oh, yeah, he was talking about that. Yeah, exactly. Oh, it's free. Yeah. I say we, I don't do it. People willingly tell everything, including their social security number and their bank account numbers.
Okay, I thought I recognized the voice. I'm not sure where he is, but very intriguing individual. Hopefully he started writing a book. They'll probably, they'll probably shut him down for it, but he's right on point. So I just want to take my hat off for that. So KK4 UTS, stand by.
Yeah, very good, Carl. I had two people in there. I had hold on, Brent. We had Whiskey 9 Bravo Oscar Quebec there. How you doing there, Dennis?
I'm doing good. I was listening to the whole net, and I wrote down some comments I wanted to make. By the way, did they use Loran in airports for a while too?
I'm guessing yes, but I don't know the answer to that.
I know they used a localizer, which was like a really tight beam that you could line yourself up at the end of the runway.
I don't know, Danny. Do you know anything about that?
Not a whole lot. Aviation, even still today, there's a little bit of civilian aviation to use GPS, but for the most part, no. You're using. I think they've gotten away from the VOR beacons. Those are starting to come offline, but no, for the most part, they didn't use any sort of. They didn't use any sort of automated navigation like that. I mean, they've got autopilots that'll fly a pre-programmed route based on coordinates and compass headings and stuff like that. But no, they still do it the old-fashioned way.
I gotcha. Yeah, they see the lights.
Well, exactly, and like Dennis says, you have the localizer that will tell you if you're on glide slope in the pitch dark driving rain, whatever. But based on your charts and your navigation, you should already know kind of where you are. But that'll help, and plus that also factors into the ALS auto landing systems and stuff. Is all part of that. So they do have that, but that is a fairly local technology. In other words, you're on final approach to the airport at that point if you're engaging the auto land.
Gotcha. Yeah, well, more power to them. All right, Dennis, you heard that.
Yeah. The other thing that Steve K4WKU had a pretty good net last yesterday. I don't know how many there were, but there was more than the week before. And also, I looked up why Mount Juliet got its name, and they don't really know, but they think that there was an Irishman who had seen a house in Ireland called Mount Juliet. Was the name of a house, and apparently the land around Mount Juliet looked like it, so he named it Mount Juliet.
Yeah, it's one of those they don't really know. Maybe they'll run across that information that confirms it sometime. I don't know, because it was only incorporated in like 1972 or something.
And by the way, did you hook up with Charlie and get him some dog bones?
Yeah, tomorrow morning.
That's cool. He seems like a good kid. Did he ever check into this net?
I checked into it the last net he did. Yeah. Yeah, he checked in last night.
And I got one thing I want to tell all the people that I grew up in the South about cold weather. And Paul, you can identify with this. When I used to live in Wisconsin, sometimes in January and February, it would go for 30 days in a row where the temperature would stay right around 0 or 10 below, 20 below at night. And it would stay below 0 for like 30 days. And I kid you not, when the temperature got up to 20 degrees, and the sun was out, you could go sit out on the front porch with a t-shirt on and not get cold. And I'm not lying. Can you vouch for that?
Oh yeah. If it got up, it was sunny, particularly if it was a little bit sunny, and you went out in the afternoon, you'd go out you'd say, "Oh man, this." In fact, people would take their tops down on their convertibles in that weather.
Yeah, if the sun was out and it was 20 degrees and a little bit of the ice was melting on your roof, man, you could go outside with a t-shirt and hang out all day.
Yeah, it's funny once you get used to it, really. That's how you knew spring was there. People would be driving around in their MGs, but be wearing a jacket and a hat.
Yeah, and one more thing. I talked on AM on 80 meters to a guy named Don. He's up around Clarksville. K4KYV, he's got an awesome AM transmitter that he built. But he's got to be in his 70s, and he sounds like he might be a little older than that. He got licensed in 1959. He climbed his tower to 130 feet to replace the guy wires just this year.
Well, that's, yeah. You know, there's a thing, Jim and I were just talking about it earlier in the week. This guy up in fact, it's in Wisconsin near Eau Claire, where there's things called the farm. He's had an antenna farm there, and he was climbing one of the towers, and that's how he died. He had a tower accident, and he was in his 80s.
I couldn't believe it when this guy said he was climbing towers. I was shocked. Well, anyway, thanks for the net, Paul. Back to net.
Yeah, very good. That was Dennis, Whiskey 9 Bravo, Oscar, Quebec, and he's in Castellian Springs. Brent, Kilo Echo 4, Romeo Victor, Quebec. What's up?
How you doing, Paul? You behaving yourself?
No. Well, I must be because my wife's not yelling at me.
Yeah, my take turns to yelling at me just for the heck of it. Keeps me in line. Preventative medicine.
It's kind of like the dogs. I tell them to shut up even if they're not barking.
Yeah, definitely. Hits me with the paper. You know how it goes.
Yeah, so everything going well? Are you still doing that 16-hour shifts?
Absolutely. Doing the 16-hour shifts and playing fireman during the week.
So, well, that's volunteer on the fireman, though, right?
Yeah, I ran a little bit today.
Yeah, well, That's dangerous work sometimes.
Hey, I heard you guys talking about that crash. It wasn't. I think it was yesterday, the day before, over there on the bridge. Yeah, that was pretty violent.
Yeah, I didn't hear about it. That's too bad. Somebody wasn't paying attention.
Yeah, somebody had to cross the center line because it was a direct hit straight on.
Yeah, I cringe thinking about that stuff. That's not good stuff. I don't even care if you're wearing a seatbelt. It'll do some serious damage.
You know, it's funny when I heard you talk about that sign. I have noticed that sign too, and it goes through my head. What kind of fool would even attempt that?
I don't know. It wasn't me because I wouldn't cross the bridge on a bike.
Good Lord, they were looking to make somebody into a Super Bowl.
I don't know. At least you might get pitched right into the little lake that way, you know.
Oh, that's definitely you'd go flying.
No, in fact, what was funny was that sign. At least when I was still riding a bike 2 years ago, every time I went by it, it was covered by trees, so you couldn't even see it.
Well, you know that's crazy. You hit a car, didn't you? Or a car hit you?
No, the car hit me.
Wow. Yeah, you were lucky to walk out of that one.
Oh yeah. Well, just proves I got a thick skull.
Yeah. Well, like I said, I thought I was going to be late tonight. I went over to ate some chicken over at the Cracker Barrel. So, like I said, I got home just in time to get on this.
Yeah, well, very good. We're good. Glad you jumped in there. You were number 21, so we hit over 20 again. So you're doing great, and I got a good signal.
Well, good deal, Paul. I'll talk to you next week.
All right, very good, Brent. You have a good one. That was Brent. That's Kilo Echo for Romeo Victor Quebec. I can't read that right. Very good. We have anybody else north?
WB0NOO.
You signed up on the thing, didn't you, today on that new site on IO?
Well, I did a reply to the email. I wasn't sure whether that's what I was supposed to do or not. But I've got a couple of lists for other things, and I'm kind of facing the same thing. Do I change or not change?
Well, the Yahoo thing is, they've just been so problematic. I put out messages to the group, and it shows up 5 hours later. I've had 2 messages to another group that never showed up ever. They just disappeared. And I've been the moderator and owner of the group for 20 years.
Yeah, I've got one that I've been a moderator of since like 97 or something. And before it wasn't Yahoo groups at the time. I think it was e-groups or something. But anyway, I don't know. I guess I need to look at the IO and probably move them over.
Well, they make it pretty easy, and it looks like it's better because I'm not kidding you. I could not use the calendar function on Yahoo Groups ever on this group, and it's been active for 5 years. And I could never make the calendar work because it says no, that part isn't working. It had some just lame excuse, and there's nobody to call, so I just let it go.
Yeah, well, it's obviously they don't really care. I'm not sure why. I guess it's just not a revenue stream from the advertising.
Well, it occurred to me. I don't know if it's true. I just strictly just my dumb thinking that since anybody can upload pretty much anything to some of those sites. Now, all of my sites are technical or related to veterans. That's it. Or ham radio and veterans. That's pretty much all. And family stuff. And there are lots of other groups that are, I'll just say, they're less than good groups. Regarding things, photography that people, it's not well, let's put it this way, it's on the fringe, and I think they don't want to be caught being purveyors of pornography.
Yeah, I can understand that, but I don't know how Groups IO is going to be much different. Do they have any requirements or any way to hold you accountable?
Yeah, they say, in fact, they have to approve the group up front. You can't do anything. You sign up for it, you fill out the basic information on what you are. It's it's like normal, like we did. Like I put up that announcement about what we are and what we do. And they send a couple hours later, they send an approval. You've been approved. And they say right up front, nothing about, no groups that are dealing with, I forget the words they use, but essentially, really controversial stuff. They just don't want it on there. And they don't want anything regarding anti-vaccination sites, that kind of stuff.
Oh, yeah. Well, I guess my Make America Great Again website just wouldn't work with it.
No, I don't know. That's not really controversial. Just as an interesting aside, though, I don't know if I told you guys this. See, because this net, it shows up in the thing as Make America make Simplex great again. Net. Well, at the same time that YouTube started hitting all of these supposedly controversial conservative sites and shadow banning them and kicking them off or demonetizing them, all of a sudden at the same time I stopped getting the referrals to the website, dropped by 50%.
Oh, so you kind of got caught up in it.
Well, I even complained, but again, it was the Yahoo help, and I said, look, yeah, we're using a symbol that looks like something related to politics, but it has nothing to do with politics. It's not even discussed generally. I mean, it's just not something, we're not pushing any particular agenda other than amateur radio, but they don't care. But again, 50% down. Everything was down 50%. Referrals, traffic, and it was down on the. It didn't matter to me too much. There's people who, what do you call it? They subscribe. The subscribers dropped quite a bit too, but I had enough to meet the minimum for monetizing and being able to do, feature length, live streams. Because you have to have at least like 1,000 hours and 1,000. I think you have to have 1,000 viewers or minutes, 1,000 minutes a year at least. I think that's what it was. And you have to have 1,000 subscribers.
Oh, okay. Well, it's been a long net and a long evening. And next time, I guess, no, next time you start south again, don't you? Well, 3 more nets and you'll start north and I can go back to sleep.
All right, Mark. No, I just wondered if you, because some of the people don't sign up using their names. They just use their emails. And I don't always know who, what's funny was I know lots of hams and about 80% of them, I don't know their last name.
Yeah, well, my email has my first name on it. So, but anyway, I did it, and I guess all I did is said respond to this email or something like that, and I just did a reply and said okay. Does that get me on?
Well, are you using that NashvilleTN.org address?
Yeah.
And you're there.
Okay. Well, good. I'll see how it works for a while, then I'll go start moving mine. I saw that you can basically make Groups IO a member of your group, and it will take care of the transfer with files and everything for you.
You got to pay them for that.
Oh, yeah?
$220.
Oh, we'll figure out another way.
Oh no, anything that I had on that side, I'll just I'll just reload it up onto this side. I'm not going to pay them because I did the transfer of all the members just by sending out the invites. The other way that they would do it though, it takes them all and makes them members. You with me? Because you're since I'm the owner or you're the owner, they'll do it because of your authorization. But I don't need to do that here. I'm going to have to do it with the other side I have because it's got 800 members.
All right, so you just did invitations to everybody on this list, and then you rely on them to sign themselves up or reply to it.
Well, it does weed out the lollygaggers, I'm sure.
Yeah. Well, I went through and deleted all the bouncing emails and cleaned up my list a little bit. So maybe it's ready to move.
All right. Well, very good. Good to have you in there, Mark. Thanks. Woo, get my words straight here. Thanks for hanging in there for the duration here on a net that's going an hour and almost 25 minutes. That was Mark at Whiskey Bravo Zero, November, Oscar. Apparently we had a lot to talk about tonight, or I have. He's over in Hermitage. Anybody else north?
Well, I'll jump in again, KK4ETS. Brilliant conversation. So an old PC with Linux can do all this stuff that groups are doing. And if I sense correctly, if I've got what's that thing you guys were talking about earlier? I think it looks like a compass with a telescope on it, that thing at sea. I think if I've got that correctly, we can certainly, or anyone can own their own information. But at the end of the day, encryption, I don't care what you call it, once you jump out of the house or out of your PC or what have you, you're susceptible, right? 100% security or zero access. So I think great conversations, and I would encourage you, Paul, to maybe have a tech call conversation after
Maybe somebody else wants to do the tech kind of stuff. Of course, you have to have a reasonably good station. That's the only problem. Yeah, very good. You're right, though. But yeah, you can do that. You could host your own site for that kind of stuff. But it's having all of the other features in there that make it neat. The calendar functions and the polling functions and the, you know, you can put in hashtags and do polls and, you know, do calendar and photo section files. You know what I'm saying? There's a lot of stuff. And you'd end up eating up my bandwidth, you know, is another issue at somebody's house. You know, you'd have to have one of those T1 lines or something.
We're doing a gig here. I think T1. We're doing a gig on AT&T now, and they tinker with it and what have you. But this might be a good reason to bring back Morse code, huh?
That's right. Well, very good. Yeah, let me see if there's anybody else out there on lollygaggers, lurkers, etc. Carl. All right, we're late check-ins. Any late check-ins?
Whiskey 4, Alpha Whiskey Echo.
Boy, better late than never, huh, John?
Indeed.
Very good. We didn't get any work done today in that rain, did you?
No, just inside, but I've got a ton of stuff I've got to get caught up on post-production and editing.
Well, I'm sure that's a load. I know how much trouble it is. I know I've told you before, but I didn't realize how much work it was. Let's just say to make a movie, you know, like a regular feature-length movie, because I think I told you, we spent roughly 90 man-hours making a 3.5-minute video.
Oh yeah, I mean, there's a reason the typical, even small budget motion picture is about 5 years.
Yeah, it's amazing, really. Of course, in this case, you know, we had to do our own lighting, our own audio, our own videos, our own editing, our own everything. You know, the music was written by my wife and the lyrics, and my wife and I, and all the silly things that we did. So it was kind of funny how much time it takes, but it's a labor of love, and if you can survive that with your wife, it's probably a good marriage, because it was like we had created differences once in a while.
Yeah, I mean, it's a major thing. I mean, it's you know, a lot of people, like in the music business, an album typically is a year-long project, sometimes a little less, but that's actually a rather quick project compared to a motion picture.
Oh, yeah, I bet. Yeah, I've heard those stories from some artists before in the movie business. I was going to tell you something about that, but I don't forget what it was. But no, you get a real respect for how much work that really is. Oh, that I was going to tell you is that I learned in that process more so than any other time that when they go out to promote a movie and one of the movie stars goes on one of the talk shows and they said, "Oh, we had so much fun making that movie. It was a ball. Everybody got along. It was all just great. It's such a good time." And now I know it's all BS.
Well, I mean, there's you know, I think the biggest thing with press junkets when you see actors out there is, for many of them, it's been 18 months to sometimes 2 years since they were actually on that set, and they're already deep into other projects.
I'm sure that's true. You're right, because it's, you know, you realize that they make the movie and they may even have put it in the can and it doesn't get released for another year.
Or longer, you know, it's, I think typical lead time in Hollywood is about 18 months or 2 years. There's a lot to do.
Oh, yeah. Well, I also realized why the credits are so long, too.
Exactly.
It takes a lot of man hours to get all that stuff done. I just can't imagine, really, because I know how much of it was a pain for us making 3 and 4 minute videos. And I said, oh, man, if you got to make a 90-minute movie in different sets and different everything, and then dealing with all of the different people would drive you crazy.
Yeah, that's why I really enjoy. I used to do a lot of advertising in my early days, but it's also why music video projects can really be a lot of fun, because you really are making a film with every facet of a real motion picture, because you've got to write a treatment and you basically have a script. And but it's just, you know, encapsulated down to 3 or 4 minutes instead of 90 minutes.
Well, when I see some of the ads that get produced, one of them that cracks me up now, and I know it's really one of the best produced, 30-second and 1 minute. I think it might even be less than that on some of the cuts they use. But it's that one for the purple mattress with that blonde. Have you seen that?
I don't believe I have.
Yeah, look on the web, and I think it's on the web. You see it on YouTube, but it's interesting. Just like anything else in sales, marketing, etc. You want to be able to make something concise and clear and as easily understandable as possible and entertaining. And whoever did that video, put it together, it was awesome because it breaks it all down so concisely and it gets your attention.
Yeah, it's hard. I mean, the world of advertising is brutal because you're paring down and you're trying to boil down this thing, and you're always dealing with a committee because you've got client reps and then you've got art directors and account executives, and you're trying to get this thing down to 24 seconds.
No, I can't imagine. I really can't. Well, listen, John, let me run out. We were here an hour and a half. Sorry about that. But anyway, that was John, Whiskey 4 Alpha, Whiskey Echo, and he's over in Bellevue. Any other late check-ins, please come in. I'm going to have to edit this video. Take out the dead air and half of my conversations. Any lollygaggers, lurkers, sandbaggers, SDR donglers, scanner listeners, preppers, or end-time survivors?
Paul, I think Charlie was in there for you.
Hey, Charlie, were you out there?
Yeah, Paul, Paul, can you hear me? K4VGI, K4BW.
Yeah, I hear you just fine, Charlie. What's up? You ready to meet me over in the parking lot for the exchange of the wire and the dog bone?
Yeah, sure. Also, is it too late to just check into the net? But yeah, so tomorrow, if you want, I can bring you like $1. I don't care. Like, I have it. It's fine. I really appreciate it. Just maybe as a tip if you want. Yeah, I'm just about to check in. I thought that it was too late. Had to go to youth group on Wednesday night. Yeah. So tomorrow at 8:20 in the Cornies parking lot. Does that sound good?
8:20? Yeah, that'd be great. Yeah, it'd be good. 8:20. I'll see you then.
Okay, sure thing. I gotta do some math homework. I have my math teacher assigned a whole lot of math homework. Have like a couple questions left that I have to do. Algebra is very, very difficult.
Oh, I remember. I was not good at math, but I tried very hard to be good at it. Yeah, you got to master that if you want to get anywhere. Well, very good, Charlie. You're doing fine. Yeah, you were check-in number 24 tonight.
24. That's pretty good. Yeah, I'm gonna try and make it every night or every net. But I thought that I was gonna miss this one, but I'm glad I did it. So hope you have a good night, and I'm going to 8:20. And I texted you if you want to get back on that, so we can get that coordinated for tomorrow. But yeah, sure. So have a good night. I'm gonna say KN4VGI clear.
Hey, just verify, Charlie. It is your email address was Charlie. Charlie, I'll get it straight here in a second. Charlie Meadows. It's no dots or dashes or nothing else in it.
No, sir. It's Charlie Meadows 2006 at iCloud.com. That's CharlieMeadows at ICLOUD.com.
But it is Charlie Meadows 2006.
Yes, it is.
And again, no spaces or dashes or underscores, right?
No spaces, dashes, or underscores. No.
All right, very good. I'll send you out an invite to that so you can get on the mailing list. So you'll get that shortly. I'll catch you later. You have a good night with your math. K4PEW.
Have a good night. K4VGI clear.
All right, that was Charlie, Kilo November 4, Victor Tango, India. He's got a J-pole. I think he's still using that in the closet in his bedroom, and he's up there by the river north of me, about I'll say 6.5 miles. Does a good job with the signal to me. Anyway. Anybody else on late check-ins anywhere? Anyhow.
Oh, and Paul, do you think it would be a better idea to do a 2-meter wire antenna instead of the J-pole? Because I don't think that I can get the J-pole outside. Again, I'll try and ask my dad again, but I'll try and I'll try to get that outside. But do you think a 2-meter dipole will work better than the J pole?
Nah, probably not. If you could get a 2-meter 5/8 wave vertical outside, which would be very, nobody'd even notice it. You just look that up in the, look that up in MFJ catalog or Gigaparts or HRO or something to see what I'm talking about.
Okay, I'll look that up. Yeah. So that's I just had to ask that. I wish there was a Gigapart store around here. There's one in Huntsville. That's the closest one to my knowledge. But yeah. Have a good night. Can4 VGI actually clear this time.
All right, very good, Charlie. You have a good night. K4 PEW. Very good. No more late check-ins. Very good. I'm an hour and 35 minutes. That's a new record, and I think I am going to have to cut this video. It's way too much, but I don't know. I'd have to cut me out of it. Very good. This is K4PW. Don't forget, there's a net tomorrow night with Wilson County Amateur Radio, and that's at 8 p.m. on 147. I did it again. Memory's killing me, man. 147, 105. I'm only doing this 5 years. And it's plus offset 156.7. That's at 8 o'clock tomorrow. And then, of course, they're having a Saturday meeting at the Lambrey Hall, room 122. It's 6 p.m. over at Cumberland University, and that's on Saturday. That's what their deal is over there. And everybody have a great night, unless there's some really, really late check-ins. All right, closing out the net. Have a good night, everybody. I appreciate it. It's 24 check-ins, and a lot of interested parties, and that's great. Have a good one, K4PW.
Paul, I didn't get an email about the